Hey folks, here's that short English version of that market update I just did in German. I won't go through the FANGs because I did like a separate video on that like 10 days ago. And what I can tell you is all these bearish patterns are firing to the downside, and I will do an update during the week. So we just have a look at the DAX, the Dow Jones Industrial, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, and we're gonna hop into the DAX for now. And I was posting this chart here, this bearish Wolver Wave wedge on yesterday morning, well, Friday morning it was. And after we were retesting that lower trend line, I said, well, DAX is about to jump straight down here to that 13960 area, or he needs to retest that 14190 before we hit that target line. And have a look what happened now. He tested that lower trend line and even the upper one like the whole morning before he came down to 1436. Then he retested the 14190 and we went all the way down to their target line. So that was a perfect strike just before or just after US closing in the evening session. So that worked out quite well, and I've got another example for you on the Nasdaq. So here's that the bearish Wolver Wave wedge I was posting on Friday afternoon. It's an hourly chart, and just after opening I was a bit irritated because they kept pushing to the upside, and I was posting that chart quite late. We were already at 13,176 because I needed to have that signal, and we got that bearish engulfing candle which confirmed my pattern, and I was pretty sure by then that we hit their target line later on. And have a look what happened. They kept on selling all the way through down to 12,832. So if you were following me on Twitter, yeah, that gave you like almost 300 points to the downside. But for now, let's jump back into the DAX. So here we are, it's still my 4-hour time frame chart. Most of you know this one, and just to sum it up, we had that ABC to the downside. We hit that C target perfectly at 13,553, but on the time scale we were running short. And I also said that that ABC to the downside doesn't look to be finished. It doesn't really look completed in my point of view. And I also was talking about the double zigzag, so that we run into an ABC, and here we got that double X, and we finish off with a Z, unless that we don't overshoot that high. Now we did by a little bit, but that's still okay if we run all the way down now on Monday into Tuesday, but I don't really see that happening. I rather would like to go for a double combo and an ABC. That means we have an ABC to the downside, then it's followed by an ABC to the upside, and then we finish that thing off with an ABC to the downside, or even 5 waves. That would be also like a 335 correction. So I have like a decision area here at 13,800 to 850. Either we break that and we are going all the way through immediately, or we bounce here and we come back into that 14,290, 350 area before we start that final move to the downside. So that's my plan on the 4-hour time scale. Let's hop into that cash market chart. So here's our 2-hour time frame chart based on the cash market, and we still have in blue that very smooth running Wolver Wave wedge with its perfect target line, presently running at 14,734. And just to make clear, that red one, I also showed you this one just a minute ago on the 4-hour time frame. This one isn't activated yet. We need to undershoot that low to have the red one activated, so that blue one has priority and it stands over that red one. And just to make that clear, DAX could jump up even higher and could run all the way up here in one straight move. I wouldn't really prefer that scenario. I rather would like to see, as I just said, that we come up here and then we do a final leg to the downside. The levels are pretty much the same. The 61.8 also sits here at 13,388 to finish off that C. And even on the Tether, on the cash market, I prefer actually that move to the downside straight away. And just to make that clear for the bigger picture, that's what I would like to see. The first leg was our A. I'm still missing that B, that bottom for the B move, before we start our journey to that C. And what happens here if we go here up a little bit, what I just mentioned, and come down, it doesn't really matter how that happens. I just miss out that B. What happened here, it just doesn't really look completed in my point of view. So so that's for the short term for the DAX, and I got one big chart for you out of the weekly, which is quite interesting. Give me a sec. So here's my DAX weekly based on the cash market, and what you see is a possible bullish butterfly pattern. It's a harmonic pattern based on retracement levels only. The only thing is that there's one leg missing to the downside, that thing becomes activated, and that leg has to be quite long. It has to be in that green box, and I can't really tell you if that is happening. It's just an idea where DAX could run into if we are selling off quite intense, and if that decline is very, very sharp. These cycle brackets on the bottom here, they give you a kind of idea when that could occur, into that autumn area somewhere in October. If you want to have a better understanding on these cycles, just watch my video on DAX Cycles. I will put that link in the description box of this video. So let's talk about that harmonic pattern. What you need is a starting point. You need to have like a proper low, and I chose point X for that, and then you just need a rally to the upside, and that's what happened. I showed that all-time high, that's point A, and from there we need to hit that 86 that 78.6 retracement level to define point B of that leg here from X to A, and we hit that quite precisely, and we just missed it out like by how much was it, like just 40 points, and since this is a weekly, that's perfectly fine. So our target for that point B was perfectly met, and then we need point C, and point C is from leg A to B. It has to be somewhere of one of these retracements between 38.2 all the way up to 88.6%, and we hit the 61.8. I mean, we overshot like by 100 points, but that's also fair enough, and we could even go higher on that, but we shouldn't get over that 15,851. That's the 88.6 retracement. So if we are lucky, we are already on our way down. And now we need to meet two requirements. We need to hit the 127.2 until the 161.8% extension of that leg X to A. And that's somewhere between 10,133 all the way down to 8,458. And we need to meet that requirement of leg B to C, that we hit the 161.8% all the way down to the 224% extension, and that's somewhere between 10,902 and 9,355. And if you just combine these two zones, you end up with somewhere in between 10,133 all the way down to 9,355. So that would be my preferred buying zone if DAX moves all the way down here. And once you have a look on the left side here, there's also that 50% retracement. That's why I extended that green box here a little bit, and that's a 50% retracement. Now listen carefully, from that low after that dot-com bubble in 2003. So it's that low 2003 all the way to the all-time high. That's our 50% retracement. So just keep that in mind as well. And that's about it for that long outlook in DAX, I'm not saying we are crashing all the way down here, but if you have a zone where there's a potential chance to buy that market up. So just keep that in mind, and we're gonna hop into the Dow Jones now. So what you see here is one of my favorite patterns, a so-called Batman. It's a Dow Jones. This one here was a 2-hour time frame chart based on the cash market. I was posting that Batman like a week ago, and I love to trade those because they work actually quite well after they complete that second ear, that right ear. It's basically nothing else than just a double top before they fire all the way, and they like to come all the way down to these lows where they started from. And yeah, have a look at that chart. We walked all the way down here, and from a post, I think the first one I posted that over here, that gave you almost over 2,000 points already to the downside. And let's see if we hit these lows here. And my point of view, that thing is already completed. I took all my shorts out here. I only went in somewhere over here, I believe. Can't really tell you these levels, but that worked out quite well. Just wanted to show you. If you follow me on Twitter, yeah, you actually can benefit from my trading ideas. So let's hop into, I think, the daily I got for you. So here's a daily, and you see kind of two different Wilbur wave wedges, which are about to be activated once we undershoot that low here out of February. We need to get below 32,272. That first one starts here at that low, and that other one starts here, and the rest up is pretty much the same. 0.2 is the same, 0.3 is the same, 0.4 is the same. This one here I put in because look at that target line with all these reconfirmation and retesting of that target line. So that gives me the idea the market actually knows about it, and he probably will hit that target line at some point in the future. So but we need to get down first to have that pattern activated. So we are missing out 0.5. For this one here it will be at the 32,000 area, and for this one it will be at the 31,650 area. And I want you to have a look also on these. Actually, what we can do is if this one's an A and if this one was a B, the 100% C target is at 38.12. Have that level also in mind. And what's also quite interesting, if Dow Jones decides to decline very, very sharply into that area down here, there's a 38.2 retracement at 29,794 of that Corona low out of March 2020 all the way to the all-time high, and pretty much at the same level at 758. That's a 23.6 retracement from that low out of 2009 all the way to the all-time high. So we have like a double Fibonacci retracement here, which is usually very strong support, and just underneath, like 200 points underneath, and that's nothing in the Dow Jones, is that last all-time high before Corona, that all-time high out of February in 2020. So that's a very, very interesting area down here. If we move all the way down here, that's a must-buy zone in my point of view. That's about the Dow Jones, and let's keep moving on with the S&P 500. So this is a daily chart out of the S&P 500 based on the cash market, and we basically have the same pattern as in the Dow Jones. A possible bullish Wilbur wave wedge, and we are just missing that new low, and we almost got there on Friday. So the S&P 500 is almost there. We just need to get underneath that low, and that pattern is active. We don't necessarily need to hit that line, that trend line, but in most cases I like to do that, and I like to overshoot. And again, if we do like an ABC, the 100% target of that C will be 3933. And also have in mind that 38.2 retracement from that Corona low in March 2020 all the way to the all-time high. That brings us 3,815. And if you consider already the target line, I didn't put like a target in there already, but yeah, let's don't talk about that unless we are activated in that pattern. And yeah, that's about it, what I have on the S&P 500, and let's jump over to the Nasdaq. So this is my weekly out of the Nasdaq, and I made a video already on that Bullish Gartley pattern. So I won't go through all these requirement and retracement levels. I will put that link of that short video in the description box as well. But what's quite interesting when we have a look at all these FANG stock with all these bearish patterns, it's most likely that we actually run all the way down here. And what we can do is, so we can put actually one of these retracements here. It's actually quite interesting that the 100% move of an ABC, it's actually in our buying zone, so that could work quite well. And I saw a lot of people are talking about that shoulder head shoulder pattern. So you have here that left shoulder, you have the head, and you have the right shoulder. And once I have my cursor right here, that's a very horizontal neckline as well, and it's already been activated since last week. And usually these shoulder head shoulder patterns, if you measure that distance from that high to that neckline, that's your 100% target. So what I do is I just get that ABC we just talked about. You have to subtract it from that neckline, and that gives you a 100% target of 9,116. And the statistical target, that's more interesting in my point of view. So we actually have 51% for the statistical target of that shoulder head shoulder pattern, and well, this one shows 50%. That will be at 11,029. That's a more realistic target in my point of view for the Nasdaq. So that's about it. I hope you liked that video. So if you do, give me that thumb up, or even subscribe this channel here on YouTube. And yeah, we'll keep you updated on Twitter, or I will make further updates here on YouTube as well. I wish you all the best, happy weekend, and I gonna go out with my dog now, and I see you next week. Thanks for watching.